I'd like to welcome everyone today to the 4th edition of 1,000 Little MS Things. Hello, darling.
Hi, morning. Good morning, darling.
We had a pretty exciting start to the day when our 14-week-old golden retriever bought my shorts.
She did. She's like a retriever. It was
This
good.
is so cool. This is what they do. And then you made me coffee.
I made a coffee, yeah. That's
all
every
a man
day.
needs. It's a very simple start to the day. So we've got a very exciting guest here today. Lisa Willey is a very good friend of ours. We met her at Zephyr around 5 years ago or so. And Lisa was a guide there. And now Lisa lives with us on the property. And she has her own Liberty training business. And there's a few dogs and a parakeet, and it's made it a wonderful place to be. And I'd like to welcome you, Lisa.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
And Lisa's also going to star in the documentary we're bringing out at the end of the year called Zephyr. And also she was in the film Take My Hand. Lisa played the role of the horse stunty. So in the scenes where you see a horse charging through shot, it's Lisa. And she also had a little part with Rada in the coffee, near the coffee shop in Bangalow. So, but Lisa, welcome to you today to the podcast. Just want to have a little chat about a few things. But Lisa's also like a second carer for me here on the property. Lisa sort of takes care of Claire on the horses and with lots of things, and does all our IT because we're pretty shit at that still.
We're bad, yes.
Well,
Sure.
I think we're getting every time I think we're getting better. I think
We're not getting better.
there's always something that Lisa will come up with that she's.
We're too old, darling. It's a young person's thing. IT.
Some of the new technology that comes along, we're just that scares me. The
dinosaurs.
new stuff.
We are
It
dinosaurs.
scares me too.
Oh well, that's
it's
good to hear.
just a matter of Googling how to use it.
You Google
I'm
everything.
not good at everything. I
You
just Google everything.
I think you should look at Lisa's arm right now.
That is pretty cool. So I've got a bit of a Rambo moment here at on the podcast. Lisa cut her arm and she's actually stapled it.
It's fine. It's a surgical. Everybody, it's a surgical stapler. It's not. I
Pretty
didn't
cool.
just grab a stapler out of the pantry.
Maybe we'll just go back quickly to your love for horses. I know we've spoken about it in the doco, a few other things, but and where it started and why you're such a horse whisperer now. How did it all start?
Well, a lot of people use the term horse whisperer, but I think
pretty loose.
everybody's a horse whisperer, but it's just a matter of being able to communicate. So I always correct people and say, no, it's a horse listener. You got to listen to them and then you'll have the exact same experience sort of thing. But my journey with horses started when I was 11 and my mum bought Roxy. She was a little Arab cross stock horse or something, sort of a bit of a motley breed. And she was amazing. So Mum had horses when she was young and then she got Roxy so that she could have horses again, but then also that my brother and I could sort of join in on that kind of world that she had. So incredibly lucky, very, very lucky. And Roxy became my best friend, my soulmate, and she just taught me so much, so many things. And whoop. Lucy's come over to say hi to Banks, and Banks is not so sure.
This is Banksy.
He's not too familiar with her yet. But yeah, so it all evolved from there, and it just never really left. A lot of times people sort of grow out of things, or they'll go out of it and get back into it and things like that. But I just no, it was lodged in my soul, I think, since the day I was born. Because even before we had horses, I was always obsessed. I think every girl is.
Do you think that when you were young, did you know about the healing powers that they probably have?
Before I got Roxy, no, because I never really thought of that. And I guess you kind of don't when you're, a horse fanatic girl. You just think about how beautiful and big they are and wow, imagine riding them and it'd be so awesome. And like my parents used to take me to, Mum used to take me to, it was like Zephyr, like a trail riding place. And yeah, we'd go there every year and in the school holidays, and that was my experience with horses. So that was just sort of getting on and riding, which was amazing, and I loved it. But yeah, I didn't really know the connection side of things with horses then.
When did you sort of realise that?
When we got Roxy.
Okay.
And then slowly, because at first it was just like, oh my gosh, horse, love, love, love. And she sort of didn't like us at all because she's like, oh, look at these humans, more humans. Jesus, they just want things from me. But she gradually sort of taught me, how to create that bond. And she was very much that. But I had a lot of animals before her, so it didn't all start from there. So I had a very open heart before I met Roxy. But she definitely taught me a lot.
Yeah. So I think when we first started riding in Zephyr, but straight away, like we've said before on the podcast about how good they made you feel when you got the disease, and it was the thing you wanted to do, wasn't it?
Me, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, 100%. It makes you fal less disabled and a bit more capable of doing things.
So when we were at Zephyr, and obviously everyone there working there knew you had MS, and all the girls were great, and they had to learn what
I could do and not do.
Couldn't can't do.
Yeah.
And they were all pretty good, but at the same time, you felt nervous because everyone was young, busy,
healthy,
and bouncing around. So it was a little bit
overwhelming.
A little bit overwhelming.
A little bit different.
Yeah, and since we've been here, you've enjoyed riding. Mm-hmm. So say more, but it's been because...
I think because it's hours here, it's also easier to enjoy it and easier to feel comfortable there. Not feel different as much here.
Yeah, our own property, and this is where Lisa's come in.
Yes,
so much.
It's very, very, very useful having you around. Very good.
Because just her knowledge of the horses and how it's not a rushed situation.
Yeah, it was very
I think
organised.
a few times when we first got here a few months ago, I was like, right, let's get on the horses. And Lisa said, we don't need to do any of that shit.
So you just need to stop and breathe.
Yeah. So that's what's been so good for you too, Diane, to just...
I'm more relaxed about it, I think. Less rushed.
Less rushed.
Hate rushing.
And so explain to everyone listening, so when you ride with Lisa, what you do and how it makes you feel.
Well, it just feels, like everything, riding a horse is just a magical feeling. But I feel, because it's our land now and it's our horses, and I just feel less harried by everything else, I feel more capable and more, I think I'm learning more here because I'm not being rushed around, which is better, I think. What else? You tell me.
Yeah, what do you in the lessons with Lisa, and what are some of the things you do?
Lessons sounds too.
What should we call them?
More just
sessions.
Sessions or
It'd be lessons.
Lessons sounds very strict. Not strict thoughts, but just hanging out. And we go to the arena. We have our own arena. Should just love have our own arena.
We're very lucky.
We're lucky to have an arena. I'm very grateful for that. And we just go and hang out and do barrel racing, but that's no racing. That sounds too much.
Barrel racing.
It's not quite that. I do barrel walking, I've seen it on TV, barrel racing, so exciting. And girls run around, the little girls are doing 10-second things, running around. That's not me. We do little quiet barrel racing around little cone things. And we do just back and forth, and we eventually trot back, or maybe trot back, kind of fast, maybe not fast.
Yeah, because you've started trotting a lot more, and in the arena it's quite a bit harder, isn't it, than when you're on the trails, because you've got to actually tell her exactly where to be, whereas on the trails they can kind of just go in whatever the track is, they'll just follow the track. So you're telling her all these other things as well of where to turn and when to turn and how to slow and fast to go.
With your energy does it. Whereas on the track they do what they do, but on the arena they're like, what do I do now? So it's more, in a way, more probably better to learn or to get better at things, I hope.
Lisa, do you think when you first met Claire to now, and you probably, I don't know if you're going to be able to remember this, any changes in her how she is around mobility on the horses? Is it the same, do you think?
No, it's definitely much, much better now.
That's great to hear, isn't it?
Because it was probably a while before you started going to Zephyr. Was it a while before you rode? before you started riding there? When did you ride before?
Before Zephyr, oh gosh, it had been probably, we talked about it at the time,
About 4 or 5 years.
4 or 5 years since I'd ridden a horse. So it'd been a long time. And I'd been, England, I rode obviously lots, and but I was healthier then. In between those 4 years, there's probably a lot of damage was done. And so when I got back on a horse at Zephyr, it had been a 4-year break, and I think that in that time I got worse, and I was probably a bit nervous. I definitely was nervous. So I thought, can I still do this now? And I said to you, I can't do it. He said, no, we'll just give it a crack. Like the movie.
Just
give it a
try.
crack. And so
Just try.
give it a go. I said, give it a try. And you were good to encourage me, not forcing, encouraging me to give it a go.
We found the video yesterday.
We did. The first video, when the first
Claire's
ride.
with
on bloody
Ziggy.
Ziggy, who's not fun
One
to
of the
ride.
horses that rides
Sorry,
is one of
he's very
the
bouncy.
horses
little
Zephyr,
pony.
and Meg took you.
Yeah, Meg is bizarre.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a small world, hey,
Yeah, I'll show you.
years
Yeah,
ago.
yeah.
And I just wrote him and I thought, I could do this. So I'm not such a, I thought I was like an invalid. I don't know what that sounds bad. So I thought I was actually really, really sick, and I thought I can do this still. Like I said, with the feeling like it's like a wheelchair thing. The horse is like your mobility. So you feel kind of able straight away.
But you had quite a bit of, when we used to go to Zephyr, I mean, we loved it and love it there. Yes. But there's a fair bit of anxiety going there, isn't there? Because, well, bathrooms, one, and what you're going to eat before you go.
Yeah, that's a me
the,
thing.
I know. Well, I'm just telling you what you go through.
Not a horse thing, it's a me thing, yeah.
Telling people what you go through.
Yes.
And the there's that one little toilet there that lots of people use.
Yeah. I know, you feel a bit,
and it's a bit
aware.
Yeah.
You feel very different, I guess.
And then you go out on a ride, and sometimes it's 2 hours.
Yeah. In fact, I've been on a ride. Was
Yeah.
it Zephyr? Who was that? Now I can't remember what it was now. We did a ride. Was it you? Is it you?
Oh, no, you went with
It was
Cammy.
Cammy. Went to the beach, went to a big
That's
ride.
right.
I had to get off and go pee in the bushes. And she'd come
And
carry
she was
me.
holding you.
She'd hold me, and I fell over in the bushes. Oh, it was a disaster. But she was introduced to MS quite graphically straight away.
Something like that.
She was changing me, and I thought, it's because it was a bit difficult. But
here, you don't worry, you don't panic.
the world is your toilet here. It just sounds old, but it's true, because here, when MS people understand that toilets are a big deal, and so when you feel like there's no one watching you here, and you feel very, if you have a mess here, who cares? Then no one can see you. No, so it's very liberating, that feeling.
Just the dogs and the cats and the other horses.
And they share, but
and
who
Lisa's
cares?
okay, yeah,
so it's
fine.
okay. So liberating is a good word for MS.
Feeling a lot more comfortable.
Oh, way, just happier, just more. I'm calmer. So as a consequence, my speech is better, so I'm not so harried all the time. I think so. You can correct me. Good. How do you rate?
I think since the film finished and we've been here,
the film didn't help my
and the last
anxiety.
few months, you are both sort of calming down a bit.
Yes, all the travelling and everything was very anxiety driven.
And that's why Lisa is the way she is, just calm
She's
all
so
the time.
calm, I know.
Because she's
She's never
surrounded by
anxious
horses.
ever.
Lisa gets up and is with the horses from like 7:30 in the morning
She's very zen all the time.
till night. And that's what they give you, don't they? That's what they give you every day. They just give you that.
Yeah, they teach you that.
And
so now that you've got less to sort of think about, and especially now that the film's all done with and everything, you can sort of start to tap into that farm life.
Yes, exactly. You're
relaxation.
right.
Yeah.
I feel that too. The farm life, the Zen word, that the calm farm life. I feel like we're now getting it to ourselves now. They're feeling more. We own it. We feel more present here.
But even if people live in the city or people don't live on farms, or they can
not many do.
Try and go for a horse ride
if they can do.
If they can.
And that's where places like Zephyr is so good, because they don't need to do all the other stuff, and obviously it's so expensive to have a horse, and people that love them so much, they can get, like when I was a kid, we used to go to this trail riding place, and thank God for that, because otherwise I wouldn't have had anything to do with them. Yeah, and it's better when you get introduced to it. I'm sure you'll agree that when you're just starting, instead of doing round and round in circles, just to get the hang of it again, and especially if it's been a while since you rode last, just to be able to sit on there and not have to think about too much and just relax and go with the flow. It's a really good way to get back into it.
It is. It's very, when it's all done for you, all the organisation parts all done for you, you can just enjoy the horse. Time on the horse is the important part.
And you can start to grab the other bits and pieces
over time.
Yeah. And then like by now where you're
now you can do
you've got the muscle.
Too. Yeah.
Muscles have developed so much more, and because even someone who even anyone, if you haven't ridden in 5 years, you lose all the muscles you need.
And the
You
muscles,
lose
it's quite specific. Horse
yeah,
muscles.
and the mental sort of side to it, where the confidence and all that kind of thing. You've got to redevelop that. It doesn't just sit there and wait for you.
No, horse muscles are different.
And Lisa, so being a guide at Zephyr and doing what you do now, you see the people that haven't ridden much, and then they ride, and then what they're like after the rides. You see them all the time. So that's probably one of the best parts of that job, isn't it? How excited they are, yeah.
For sure.
And have you worked with anyone with special needs at Zephyr a couple of times?
Yeah, a couple of times, yeah.
Yeah, and that just makes that guy.
That guy in wheelchair guy.
Yeah.
It was just amazing.
It was amazing. He jumped on.
Helped on.
Yeah.
And he, it's not life changing, a big word, but it's very invigorating.
So and Cami was telling this to us about the horses know, don't they, that people need. Amazing how gentle they are.
Yeah, for sure. And even on the ground, because, I had a little kid out here and he loved one of the Clydesdales. And Clyde, was so gentle with him and he was leading him and he was walking slowly next to him. And, such a big animal that could be sort of, get it in the way a bit, but he was really taking note of where this little person was. It was like he was just being extra careful around him. Like, obviously I was right there, but he knew that kid was there.
Little.
Yeah.
They're very
It's even like they know the energy coming from that person.
They must do.
They must.
It's amazing.
Because there's lots of little videos of you around lots of horses that are just come off a ride and they've had all these riders on them that are pulling reins and doing all these things.
Yes.
Remember, between rides and you're moving between them, you might be grooming them or something, and
They don't kick me.
like you could be between Ali and
Two big horses.
and I've seen things that they'd kick the crap out of me if it was me.
Yeah.
And just gentle.
I shouldn't get too cocky there because one day I'll get kicked in the head, but it hasn't
I
yet.
don't know about that.
But I think that comes down to the energy thing, because you're calmly going around and, you've got this sort of loving energy
And touching
coming
them,
out of you,
Yeah.
and they're feeling that. Whereas if you're going around thinking, that horse is going to kick me,
Yeah,
that horse is a
fear.
bit, and you've got that sort of tense energy, and the horse is like, what's this ball of tension next to me? And that's when things can go wrong, because you're sort of bringing that thought into them, I suppose, yeah.
Even when we've gone to ride a few times in the past, Lisa, and after 5 minutes, I mean, Goliath, the horse I'm on, is always a bit jumpy. And Lisa will just say, right, just stop and just close your eyes and breathe for 40 seconds. It actually helps a lot.
And it helps. You go to the horse and just breathe out, big time breath out, and just regulate your whole sense of calm into you, and the horse feels it, and you both calm together. Yeah. It's a real thing. It helps a lot.
Yeah, because you're carrying a few nerves going into the ride.
Back then, yeah.
Well, I always carry a few still.
Your horse is
you?
massive. Right. Well,
You get nervous before you ride Evie?
Evie, no. Not Evie, no. Evie's just magic. If it was Ali, I'd be hysterical. If it's
you
not
wouldn't
Ali,
be riding Ali.
I don't ride Ali.
Ali
No.
was a Brumby that we had
We
at Zephyr.
rescued, and he was
Yeah,
scary.
he kicked me a couple of times, but I think he's a good boy now. I haven't seen him for a while. But
We haven't seen one, no, we haven't.
And speaking of Brumbies, so Lisa, you want to tell us about something pretty exciting that's happening in a couple of weeks' time?
Well, in a week and a half, I think it is, I'll be at Equitana in Melbourne with my little Brumby, Ruby, who I've been training for the past 120 days or something like that now.
Even more maybe now, yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it would be about that, because she was up here late, so I don't know exactly how long the competition's been running for. I think we're a couple of weeks late. But yeah, so she's going well, and we'll be doing that. So we're still trying to figure out what we're even going to do for our little freestyle.
What is it? It's about 4 minutes you've got, yeah?
4.5, yeah, and she's still got a lot to learn. She's got to get much better at cantering. She's really done almost none of that. We've only started doing that about a week or so ago. So, but I think she'll do well. I haven't taken her out to get exposure as much as I would like. Just because time flies.
Look how far she's come, though. It's been unbelievable. We've been watching you.
Yeah, from day one.
It's just been unbelievable.
You couldn't touch her at the beginning.
Couldn't
She was
even
a brand
touch
new
her.
Brumby.
And to see what you've done now is just phenomenal. Mm-hmm. We'll be cheering.
Definitely. We're going to
There's
go
some
that
other people that want to come watch you too, by the way. I haven't told you.
Depends on my come too.
okay.
Karis and Kane and
Yeah.
Cam and Olivia want to come.
All right, like a little cheer squad.
Yes,
for
we
Get
will.
them some tickets. So that'll be cool.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to just go back to talking about the horses, Lisa, and what they give humans and Claire and people like Claire, the spiritual side of things, and what it's like a unconditional love. What's the phrase I'm looking for? When they trust you, a lot changes. Yeah.
Yeah.
You earn that.
Yeah, you've got to earn it though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's sort of over time, or is it? It's over time, isn't it? It's always over a period of time that you're with them, or is it not necessarily?
It's
is it
really,
the individual?
It's really very similar to a relationship you would build with another person. It's almost the same sort of thing, you know. Everyone's different, so everyone will move at different paces, and everyone will need different things out of a relationship. But you know, if you notice that something's not okay, you back off and address that, or you know, if someone's not okay with you coming up and hugging them, then you're not going to do that. You're going to wait until the relationship is, you know, further along, something like that. It's the same sort of thing. Like you wouldn't just jump on a horse and tell them to cross a river or something when they don't know who you are. And unless they're really used to that, then obviously it doesn't matter. But you know, from a training perspective, you know, you've got to build that relationship, and that takes time. And the trust and the connection is what is always first and foremost. And then once you have that, the other things will be incredibly easy, you know, compared and people think, wow, I can't believe she just did that. And I think it all the time. I think about Ruby all the time, like, wow, she just did that, like first go, no worries. And that's because you've got that foundation of trust. So, you know, that she's able to look at you they're able to look at you as a leader and a friend.
Yeah. And the horses you've brought to your business and trained and then moved on, I mean, is it harder to get them and do that work from when they're younger or when they're a little bit older and have learnt some things?
It makes no difference at all. The harder ones are the ones that have had more exposure to the wrong kind of people. But say you've got two horses that are exactly the same, and one's, you know, 3 years old and one's 20 years old. Typically in horse training, you've got to train them when they're young and do it all when they're young, blah, blah, blah. And I guess in the traditional sense that's probably true. But when you're doing things with connection-based focus, it doesn't make a difference because, you know, that individual is learning to trust you. Whereas if you're trying to sort of force them to do things or make them submit or things like that, then, of course, I guess it's easier to do that to a young horse like it would be to a young person if someone's being, you know, like that to their kid or whatever.
Horses are a lot easier to deal with than humans, aren't they?
Well, yeah, there's a lot less complexity because any issues that come up, you know, it's always on you. Because if a horse they're not okay with something, you know, it might be because of prior experiences or trauma, or they haven't had the exposure to it or whatever it is, but how you address that is always up to you. Whereas humans kind of, I guess they can bring a lot of their own stuff, and I couldn't even imagine trying to teach or trying to heal, you know, traumatized people. It must be much harder, but that's what the horses do, I guess. They're the teachers for us then.
So who was the first horse you rode when you got sick?
Me? In which country?
So in England. So when you got diagnosed, when
Oh, okay.
when was the first time you rode?
Oh, I didn't ride until, oh gosh,
Within a year?
My brain. No, I didn't ride. No, sorry, that's quite. I didn't ride till I got really, really sick. Where I said to Mark, when I was in hospital.
So from 99 to
2000 the bad year was 2006, right?
06.
06. 06, so I was on 07.
So, but right through the boys being
Now I'm
born.
confused, sorry.
No, that's right. No, you're right. 2005, Charlie was born.
Yes.
And then,
I wasn't riding that old. No, didn't
So,
ride.
you didn't ride through all that time.
I'm going to get confused, sorry.
No, I saw the
Give me some
first
warning.
pictures.
It's got to do this.
No, it's okay. The first pictures I saw of you riding, the boys were like little, 2,
Yes.
3, 4.
Yes,
So
they
that
were.
makes sense.
So I didn't ride until I lived in Battersea.
Wow.
Therefore, the boys were all out then. So they were here. So I wasn't riding
That's
at all.
6, 7 years.
6 years, yeah, I didn't ride at
Wow.
all. From England to when I rode would have been 6, 7 years. Yeah. So that would have been terrifying.
What was
but then
that?
the first horse I rode was actually in Lavent, Lavent Equestrian Stables, great place. I rode Roo, who was just the best horse ever. I bought him. He's so beautiful. And he cured me. He sort of saved me because I was terrified and it was all the times and bad. I was not well at all. And he just helped me a lot. I rode him and he was just, I jumped him and everything.
He's big.
Yeah, it turns out he's big. He was 15.3. So he's bigger than my horse now. I didn't know that, but he was.
I hope the people listening to this one like horses.
Yeah, he was good size. He wasn't tiny, but he was a very good horse. But he's still alive. He still works full time apparently. He's 20.
We saw him when we saw
in England a few months ago. We saw him, and he's still working, which kind of disturbs me a bit because he should be out to pasture. But then he's probably happy working. So who am I to say? Maybe.
And then. Yeah, and then Bo. We got Bo.
Then we got Bo because Roo got sick of Bo. But it was giant 16-hand thing. It's a Norse horse, and Mark rode him in the end. Mark took him hunting.
And the boys, did they like to ride?
Boys rode ponies. Pretty different word. I like them to ride, but the big one, James, didn't like riding at all. He never rode. He didn't like him. But Scott number 2, he liked riding. He was good. And then little Charlie rode. They're little. They're like 8, tiny.
Well, kids either like it or they absolutely love it or they don't.
Yeah, true. But
with horses,
I think boys aren't so into riding as much. Am I right? Maybe I think for young boys, it's a girl thing. I think I shouldn't say that entirely, but look, girls have these little pony things. Have
you can tell with the kids, can't you, Lisa? When we've done those days at Zephyr, and you
to be
straight away.
Yeah, well, the young boys are often very into it, but when they get a bit older, I think once they get around teenagers. Usually,
they're
and
chasing
obviously
girls and the girls are looking at the horses.
But then a lot of girls do the same thing once they get to teenagers. They love horses when they're young and then they compete, whatever, and then they typically
give up.
Like quite a lot of them, obviously not everybody, but everyone's different. But boys seem to get out of it more and then they don't really get back into it. A lot of girls get back into it later on.
They either become cowboys when they're like 23, 4, 5 or rodeo.
Boys.
It's mostly girls.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
But guys are really good though.
But once they're a bit older, I think, because then it's more of like a passion thing. They go, oh, wow, I love this. And then they get hooked on it again. But, those teenage years, you don't see a lot of teenagers riding, except for in the country, of course, there's everybody rides. But
I mean, a lot of the girls at Zephyr that go in their 20s have their phones with them.
Yeah. Well,
Even though they're not supposed to have phones on the ride.
Guests do, yes.
Guests. But it's all about the pic.
Instapics.
And the Insta.
Instapics. Now, I do as a career, as a project to not fall over as much. I work on my glutes and my balance all the time because glutes stop me from having as many falls as I've had over the years. So I'm trying to not fall as much. So in doing so, I'm trying to get stronger glutes and stronger and better balance. And in doing those things, horse riding is kind of those two things covered entirely. So glutes you need for riding, and my glutes basically, my right glute's gone from all the attacks I've had, and the right glute's kind of vanished. But I do exercises to help the left glute to be stronger. My balance is pretty bad, but I'm working on trying to. I can't sit on one leg for example. I can't do anything. But some things I fall over all the time with, I try not to do it now. So I do exercises to help me balance and improve my balance at a stress point. So I really fall over more. So I'm trying not to do that. But the falls are people with MS know that falls kind of they're quite well known in MS. You fall over a lot and you break lots of things. And I've broken lots of things. But you tell me what I've broken. But not already. You said people have broken.
I think we did fingers,
toes,
vertebrae,
yeah, and
head,
my ear. Didn't break anything. My ear just smashed it.
Split your head open
Split
twice.
Head open twice. My poor peach head. Yeah.
Didn't you get thrown off a horse into a fence? Did you tell Lisa about that one?
Oh, that was in England.
Oh, that sounded terrible.
Oh, it was so bad. I mean, I really hit my back at one. I was doing jumping those days. This is back in the day I was healthier, so I could do jumping.
As you do?
As you do. And now I was doing a jump and the bow, big scary bow, I think he shied at the fence or something, and I hit the fence. My back, and off the horse, hit the fence. Literally, my body hit the fence. I scraped a big chunk of skin and things off my back. I cried and cried. It hurt so much. And
you just don't know what.
I tried not to cry, but I was crying.
I remember the girl that fell off the horse at Zephyr on the beach, and I was doing the poo patrol.
You were, yeah.
And she fell on her head. She fell over the horse. Head first onto her head. Lucky she was wearing a helmet. And then she was dazed. And then the ride had to keep going down the beach. And then the ambulance was called. And I had to sit with her. So I was just sitting with her.
Wow.
And she was like this. And then she kept asking me the same question about 40 times.
Oh.
What's my mum's number is 807-723. Can you just write it down? And I did. And then she kept asking me every couple of minutes. So she had total
amnesia.
Concussion.
Total concussion.
Yeah.
And it was scary. I thought, what is she passes out? And then it had to turn into like a date with this woman that I didn't even know, because you've got to start asking, so how long have you been on the coast?
Been often?
And I had to keep her awake.
Oh, yeah, she can't go to sleep. Good point, yes.
Keep her to sleep. But Lisa, you've experienced this so many times on rides with people you don't know. It's like a date situation.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Because it's like you're on the horse, but when you do private lesson
Okay.
for an hour or an hour and a half, and you're the guide, you have to
chat.
But it's more like a friendship thing.
Yeah,
like
not a
it's
date.
really nice. It's like you're meeting some new mate, you know.
But if it's not, if they're not forthcoming with questions and answers, and it makes it
Then it's
difficult.
like pulling
Most
teeth,
people, that's like pulling teeth.
Yeah.
And I've been on those rides where
those are the ones that go for a long time.
yeah.
Hard work.
I remember. I think, Lisa, when you first took Claire and I for a ride, me for a first ride, you were telling me about some date. We're not going to talk about guys, but we are now. This is funny. This is quite funny. And you said, "Yeah, I dated this guy once, and he we went out to some fancy restaurant, and they was serving us the food, and someone was playing a violin." And you said, "Fuck that shit." Look, I knew the guy was a wanker anyway, straight away.
Oh, yeah, okay. You can't do that. You can't swear.
It's okay, but it's just on the horse ride, just so awkward. So many times with people you don't know, especially for the guides, they do it every day, 4 or 5 different rides a day, and we used to go on like a couple of rides a week.
Yeah.
And we'd meet people. It was really good. It's fantastic.
It was
The people you
fun.
meet some great people.
You do. That's true.
And it depends,
Yeah.
like when you start talking, and I guess it's the same as any time you meet anyone. When you start talking to someone, you can you either really connect with them, like I did with you guys when I was taking you on rides, and you just become mates so quickly, and then you start, really having a fun conversation. Whereas sometimes people are more reserved, and you don't have much to talk about or in common, or they're not very. They're not very interesting.
You know the
or
ones that are
interested.
nervous, don't you?
Yeah, well, if they're nervous, it doesn't necessarily matter, because then the more you talk to them, they sort of lose the nervousness.
Forget about worrying about where your feet are, where your hands are. Just let it happen. Let your body take over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they usually don't take too long to relax into it. But so what do you feel, Claire, now when you're riding? When you get on, do you automatically sort of relax a bit?
I do now, because that's when you told me the little bit of information is when you sit down, get on the horse and you breathe out, and you breathe out, and your seat comes deeper, and your feet find them where they should be, and you just kind of, and the horse feels you more, I presume, as well. I hope it does. And you just kind of, oftentimes you breathe out, and you hear the horse breathe out too. It's nice. They feel like they can't breathe out together. That's a really nice feeling. And then you just feel you're kind of ready to ride together. It's actually a really nice, positive kind of feeling too, I think. I think it is.
Yeah, it's like getting into sort of a meditative kind of state first, and then you're like, oh, yeah, let's go. And then because even when you know the horse, they're quiet, blah, blah, blah. When you get on, sometimes just the getting on part, and maybe it's the movement or I don't know what it is, but you're holding on to your breath, holding on to muscles that you don't realise. You're like, I don't feel nervous. But then you're like, but
breathe out.
Yeah, it's like when you're even just sitting and you go, think about your body and shoulders and it's like, oh, wow, I didn't know I was holding on to all those muscles.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah, and it's not until someone says, right, relax.
You think,
You don't realise how much you're not, especially when you're sitting on a horse. Because we're constantly worried about hands, because you give instructions, so I'm worried about those instructions. If I've done it properly, the same thing.
Yeah.
And then, That's cool. I think once you guys, there was 3 of us down the back there in the arena, and Lisa, you said to me, just relax. So I was relaxing on Goliath, just relaxed and really relaxed. And then you guys took off, and for about 20 minutes, I said, this is really cool.
Just sitting.
Goliath was just
chewing away, yeah.
And you came back to me, oh, you guys still relaxed? I said, yeah.
That's
It
nice.
was really just like, it's just...
You're both relaxing together.
Yeah, that's nice.
And that's where the connection stuff comes back in too, because then you're just sharing space with the horse. You're not asking them anything. They're not trying to do anything. They're, you're just enjoying each other's company.
I like that.
It's like when you're sitting with a mate and you're just kind of having a coffee and
Yeah.
you don't really have to say anything. You can
Yes.
just enjoy each other's company. It's like that.
Or just sitting in the stable with them, or
Yeah.
Just being present with them.
being present.
Yes.
You guys are going for a ride this afternoon, aren't you?
We are, yes.
Yeah.
We are, yes.
Good.
Or we'll go to the pub. One of those. We'll choose.
Or we can do both.
Well, we could do both. What I'd like to do around here is have a ride a horse to a pub here, but here, no pubs nearby, so it's hard to do it here.
Get to know the people in Bangalore well enough. We'll just go straight through their properties and go straight through the...
Well, can we do that one day? Maybe we could. I'd
I
love
don't
to do
know
that.
the layout.
It's a bit of a trek, isn't it, that way? I think there's just approach to cover too.
Do why not?
Well, we'll get that's a project.
Well, we've always got the float. You can just float
We
somewhere
have.
near
Yes,
the
we could
pub
do
and
that.
ride
Yes, we
to it.
could.
And
That's, like
Yeah.
we went to the place in
Alstonville.
Alstonville.
Yeah, we went to the pub at Alstonville
there.
that time.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
that's awesome
Yeah.
there. It's a good pub.
What other pubs around here can you ride up to? Is there any others?
There's a few like Billy Nudgell's good. But
Do people do it there?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah, I've been there before. But
cool.
the ride to it is, I think there is another way to get there that's a really good ride. I've got to figure that out, but there's not a lot of places around it to go, sort of thing. So you need to either know the right trail and how to use it, or because there's not really anything that spiders off like Alstonville. You can just kind of ride around and go wherever you want and have fun. But
it's a city, it's a little
yeah,
town. People go to the town, they go through people washing their car and there's a hi, the horse. It's so funny. I love that. So that would have been in the old days. The old days, horse riding would have been a regular thing, horses everywhere. Now it's quite special.
Well, the pub ride Zephyr were pretty fun. We didn't really do that many of them. But
Nothing, I didn't actually know. But they're not. They're different to ones in Austria. They weren't like you go past school. There's a
it's like
school you go past.
get there, have a meal, like two drinks, and that's
was
it. Yeah.
fun, yeah.
Is that what the deal is when you do those days?
yeah, go and ride through the forest and then park out behind the pub. So it's like a big long trail, which is perfect. I really wish that we had
That sort of thing here.
a trail that went to a pub somewhere. That would be very cool. Because there's not
Let's
really
search.
every pub that's around here. It's usually surrounded by buildings and
Houses.
whatever. But I think the Billy Nudgell one, there is actually a forest trail that gets to there. I've got to look into that.
That's a project.
But I like riding through town too, don't you?
It's funny because also people don't ride through towns enough. So people think it's kind of it's like a circus in town. It's a big deal. It's special.
You see what we do here on the coast? We pretty much just ride
Drink and
horses or
ride
drink.
That's not quite true.
Maybe a little bit of work.
Yeah, it's
Well, Brett's here. He's working.
Yeah, working. Yeah, you are. That's good. Yeah. In terms of things that being here on the farm and being more relaxed and more present, I think my speech is better. I'd like to think I'm less, this is up to you, I think I'm less forgetful, but I could be wrong there. You tell me if that's true.
Yeah.
So but that's not quite true. I'm forgetful.
No, some days, better than others.
It changes. My health, I don't know, everyone MS people know, health changes daily, minute by minute. So some days I'm very sharp, other days I'm not.
I think when you're going to ride with Lisa, you're pretty sharp because it's not you're not leaving the property.
That could be true. Yeah,
And because you're not leaving the property, there's not all those other things to worry about.
get anxious.
You don't have to worry about bathrooms, how long we're going for on the car, have I got my bag, have I got my phone?
Yeah.
Sometimes you've left your phone here. It's the best thing, leave your phone
I know.
and walk down and
Everyone should leave the phone around. It's good.
go
leave the phone home.
to the horse and you've got Lisa there and it's just, that's when you're happier and you are more sharp. When we have to leave the house and go somewhere,
I tend to
there's a
panic.
bit more stress. So because there's a bit more stress,
Because I have anxiety.
because of the anxiety
right
thing,
in.
yeah, we're a lot more.
The MS thing, anxiety is all MS related. Because before MS, there was no anxiety ever. Now there's lots of anxiety.
And now we're about to do a road trip to Melbourne
We
in
are.
a week and a half's time. Take Lucy with us for the
in the
first
car,
time.
with the dog in the car.
That'll be exciting.
That'll be fun, yeah.
Yeah.
So that'll be an easy road trip. They can
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
going
so
to-
that'll be fun. But I think but see, since we left the city, all that's changed. So much worse in the city.
Yeah, it was.
So much
I
worse.
was much less. I was more anxiety, had more anxiety, and I was less happy. I guess is the word. I'm just more calm here.
And just the fresh air even.
Oh, yeah.
That alone
Yes.
would make a huge difference
Yeah.
because you're just always breathing it in.
Fresh
and you're
air.
always hearing the birds and bugs and things. You're not
Nature.
hearing traffic
Yeah.
and you're not hearing people screaming next door or anything
yeah,
like that.
You're right.
It's so peaceful.
It's peaceful. That's the thing I like so much about this life. It's a peaceful life.
Yeah,
And I'm touch wood. I'm very grateful for it too.
yeah.
I'm very
We're
grateful
all very
for our
grateful.
life. Yes. Important to be grateful.
It is.
Gratitude. Gratitude's important.
Well, anyway, thank you, girl. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Banksy.
No,
thank you, all the
Banksy.
dogs and
Hi,
cats that no one else can really see for joining us today. And we'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.